Let's talk about something many of us feel but rarely admit. Have you ever walked into a room full of people and felt completely alone? Or scrolled through social media, seeing everyone else connected, laughing, thriving, and wondered, what's wrong with me? In the West, we call this social anxiety. It's that knot in your stomach before a meeting, the fear of saying the wrong thing, the exhaustion after a party, not from the activity, but from the constant calculation. Did they like me? Did I fit in? Am I enough? We live in the most connected age in human history, yet loneliness is at an all-time high. We have hundreds of friends, but few we can call at 2 a.m. We perform our lives online, but feel invisible in reality. Today, I want to share something different, something older, something that doesn't ask you to fix yourself, but invites you to rethink what it means to be a person in the first place. And I promise you, this isn't just abstract theory or feel-good philosophy. By the end of our time together, I'm going to hand you 3 powerful, specific practices inspired by this ancient wisdom. These are simple, practical tools you can actually use on an ordinary Tuesday morning. Tools that will help you feel genuinely less alone. Together, we'll discover how to use ritual and empathy not as chains that constrain you, but as keys that set you free from isolation, exhaustion, and self-doubt. I want to introduce you to Confucius, or as we say in Chinese, Kongzi. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Confucius? Isn't that about rules, hierarchy, obeying your elders? That is a common misunderstanding. Yes, Confucianism speaks about roles and rituals, but at its heart, it is not about control. It is about connection. It is about healing the very anxiety that comes from feeling isolated, judged, or lost in the social world. So, if you have ever felt alone in a crowd, stay with me, because today we are going to explore how an ancient Chinese philosophy can help you find your place, not by changing who you are, but by remembering who you already are, a person in relationship. So, what is social anxiety really? At its core, it is the fear that you do not belong, that you will be rejected, that you are not enough for the group. Western culture often teaches us to see ourselves as independent individuals. You are your own project. Your worth is your achievement. Your identity is something you build alone. But what if that is precisely the problem? Confucius offers a different starting point. He says you are not an atom. You are a node in a network. In Chinese, the character for human being is ren. And look at how it is written. 2 strokes leaning toward each other. One cannot stand alone. Confucius taught that we become fully human only through our relationships. As he said,
己欲立而立人，己欲达而达人。
which means wanting to stand firm oneself, help others to stand firm. Wanting to succeed oneself, help others to succeed. This is not a moral commandment. It is a description of how we actually work. Your growth is tied to mine. My dignity is connected to yours. When you see yourself this way, social anxiety begins to shift. It is no longer, do they accept me? It becomes, how can we connect? You are not a solo performer waiting for applause. You are a participant in a shared dance. And in a dance, you do not need to be perfect. You just need to be present and responsive to your partner. But how do we actually do this? How do we move from theory to practice? Confucius offers 2 powerful tools, Li and Shu. First, Li, often translated as ritual or propriety. Now, I know ritual can sound stiff, formal, restrictive, but think of Li differently. Think of it as the social script that makes interaction smooth. When you greet someone with a handshake, when you say please and thank you, when you listen without interrupting, these are small Li. They are not about suppressing yourself. They are about creating a shared space where everyone feels safe to participate. Confucius said,
不学礼，无以立。
if you do not learn Li, you have no ground to stand on. He did not mean you will be punished. He meant, without these shared patterns, every interaction becomes a negotiation. Every conversation becomes a minefield. Lie reduces the cognitive load of social life. It lets you relax into the interaction because you know the basic steps. Think of it like learning the rules of a game. Once you know them, you can stop worrying about the rules and start enjoying the play. Now, the second tool, shu, often translated as reciprocity or empathy. This is perhaps Confucius's most famous teaching.
己所不欲，勿施于人。
What you do not want for yourself, do not impose on others. This is the golden rule, yes, but notice its form. It is not positive. Do unto others. It is negative. It starts with restraint, with imagination. Before you speak, ask, if I were in their position, how would I want to be treated? Before you judge, ask, what might I not see about their struggle? Shu is not about self-sacrifice. It is about breaking the cycle of anxiety through understanding. When you approach others with empathy, you invite empathy in return. When you stop assuming the worst, you create space for the best. Social anxiety often comes from a fear of being judged. Shu reminds us, everyone is judging themselves too. Everyone is hoping to be understood. When you lead with understanding, you change the entire dynamic. These ideas are beautiful, but how do you actually use them on a Tuesday afternoon when you are nervous about a meeting or exhausted from small talk? Here are 3 simple practices inspired by Confucian wisdom that you can start today. Practice 1, the ritual check-in. Before entering a social situation, whether a Zoom call, a family dinner, or a networking event, take 30 seconds. Ask yourself, what is the basic li here? What are the shared expectations? Maybe it is, listen more than you speak, or begin with a genuine question, or simply, make eye contact and smile. You are not scripting your personality. You are setting a gentle intention. This small act of preparation reduces the what do I do anxiety and frees you to be more present. Practice 2, the shu, pause. When you feel judged, misunderstood, or defensive in conversation, pause, just for a breath. Then ask, if I were in their shoes, with their history and pressures, what might I be feeling right now? You do not have to agree with them. You do not have to change your view. But this moment of imaginative empathy often dissolves the tension. It shifts you from me versus them to us navigating this together. Practice 3, the relationship review. Once a week, reflect on one important relationship. Ask, how did I show up for this person this week? How did they show up for me? What is one small way I can nurture trust next week? This is not about keeping score. It is about tending the garden of your connections. Confucius called this sin, trustworthiness. Trust is not built in grand gestures. It is built in small, consistent acts of showing up. Over time, these practices rewire your relationship to social life. You stop seeing interactions as tests to pass and start seeing them as opportunities to connect. I want to address a concern some of you might have. Doesn't this emphasis on roles and relationships suppress individuality? What if I don't fit the script? And Confucius himself warned that li, without ren, is empty. Ren is often translated as humaneness or benevolence. It is the inner heart that gives life to outer form. Confucius taught that rituals are empty if they are not animated by genuine care. So, the goal is not to blindly follow rules. It is to find your authentic voice within the shared patterns of human interaction. Think of it like jazz. There is a structure, a chord progression, a rhythm. But within that structure, there is infinite room for improvisation, for personal expression. Li is the structure. Ren is your soul playing through it. You do not have to choose between being yourself and being connected. The deepest form of self-expression happens in dialogue with others. We began by talking about social anxiety. That feeling of being alone, even in a crowd. Confucius does not promise to eliminate that feeling entirely. Being human means being vulnerable. relationships mean risk. But he offers a different framework, one where you are not a solitary self, trying to prove your worth to a judging world. You are a node in a living network. Your worth is not something you earn alone. It is something you co-create through every act of kindness, every moment of attention, every gesture of respect. As Confucius said,
德不孤，必有邻。
virtue is never left to stand alone. It will always have neighbors. When you act from sincerity, from empathy, from a desire to connect, you are never truly alone. Others who value the same things will find you, and together you build a world where belonging is not a prize for the perfect, but a practice for the willing. So, the next time you feel that social anxiety rising, take a breath. Remember, you are not an atom. You are a relationship. Ask, what small li can I offer here? How can I practice shu? How can I nurture shin? And then step forward, not as a performer, but as a participant, not to be judged, but to connect. Thank you for listening. If this resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. And if you have a story about how you navigate social anxiety, I would love to hear it in the comments. Until next time, may your connections be deep and your heart be light.